When we do observe, we have to be aware of entrenched mental models when we're observing, because we tend to think that, based on our recent experience especially, that we know what it is we're seeing, and we lose vigilance, if you will. So this is something from The Little Prince, which I hope you've all met, where this child shows a masterpiece to grown-ups and says, does this drawing frighten you? And they say, no, why would a hat frighten me? But of course, it's a blanket covering an elephant. So always check your mental models and observe carefully. And on the next slide, one of my favorite tattoos, which I truly do believe there are great truths within you and in your patients and in your organizations if you just take the bother to look. So next. So how we know and learn. This is a very complicated looking slide from a guy named Clay Christensen, who's one of the great innovators of our time. He founded this whole idea of disruptive innovation, and you can read about that if you Google him. But what I liked about this was he basically showed how we classify what we see and what we observe into a theory, and that's on the left side, the descriptive theory. And we gain confidence in that as we continue to classify, observe, and analyze, until the point is we have a theory for change that's so strong that we want to go test it in the field as a, let's say, a clinical trial. And he calls that normative theory. It's basically field testing of our theory to see if it works. And you do iterative testing and clinical trials until you're really sure this is something that should be scaled up and it will change care for people, let's say, in the NHS who have high blood pressure. The most important thing I want you to notice here is the red. He is doing exactly what quality improvers are doing. He has a theory, a prediction, and he's doing tests and gradually confirming or not confirming what he thinks he's seen. So predict and confirm, that is the essence of quality improvement in the plan, do, study, act cycle. We have a prediction, we plan a study, we analyze what we found, we either confirm it or we don't, and we adjust what we do based on that. He also has these large red blobs that say anomaly. He is constantly looking for anomalies, those things that tend to disprove what we're so sure of. Now, when we do observational studies and publish them in the Lancet or the BMJ, very rarely do people call out the anomalies that actually challenge their theory. What they do is they adjust for them statistically so they go away. They say, we adjusted for X, Y, and Z, they went away, here's the conclusion. Christensen and myself would say, well, let's study those anomalies. Why did that actually seem to tell us a different story than what we ended up concluding? And even in randomized trials where we have, let's say, 30 or 40 or 50 centers and thousands of patients participating, again, we adjust away statistically all of the differences that somehow don't line up with what most of the patients seem to be telling us, and we fail to learn when we do that. So study this in some depth. It's really quite a profound observation. Next.